Welcome to Athena in Truth's YouTube channel, where we provide tips and insights for you to live your best life. I am your host, Heidi Fralick. Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're recording another YouTube community viewer's choice for one of our sessions. This one is on how to become more heart-centered. Before we get started, I just wanted to remind everyone we have a downloadable Kundalini course on our website that's available now. We also have a Choose Your Universe Part 2 that has some spots, I should say, left in it. You can find both of those courses on our courses tab on the website athenaintruth.com. And also, just a reminder, we do have a Q&A membership where Athena does transmissions and we answer viewer questions on video. So if you want more information about that, that is also on our website. So please check that out. And hi, Robin.
Hi, Heidi.
So this viewer wanted you to talk about how to become more heart-centered. They want to know what to do when you feel aggravated or irritated with others, but you're trying to be more heart-centered.
We come back to Robin's mother's old quote, "You cannot make a silk purse out of a pig's ear," I believe it was. Yeah.
Mhm.
The way to get more heart-centered, in fact, is to love yourself. It's not to try to deny yourself or to change an emotion that you are having. Certainly, one would expect if you tried to do that to someone else that you were engaged with, they would not be very happy with you as you did it. We would tell you your human isn't very happy about it either. If you're feeling irritated, in fact, and then you move to condemnation that you should not be irritated at the person, if you would just move to the understanding that you're not irritated at the person, that you have irritation within you. You see, it's not about the person. So there's no need to condemn yourself or feel guilty that you're now not a heart-centered being. You're now not a loving person because you're having this aggravation or irritation towards someone else. You're actually an experiencer that has had something occur in your experience that has caused you to move to that emotion very quickly. And I think if the person that asked the question were to look into her life as a child, she could see where irritation or the feeling of not being happy about something could be something that she might have gone to based upon what she lived. And so it's a matter of her coming into the love of self for the experience that she had growing up that made irritation and anger be a big part of her experience. She had no control, had to allow or put up with things that perhaps a child should not have had to put up with, you see. And so in her recognition, in the love of herself, in the recognition that she didn't have a wrong emotion that needs to be changed, and she's not a loving person now because of having that emotion. She's a not loving person right now because she's not loving herself for having that emotion. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
So I think there's a confusion sometimes when people think they need to be more heart-centered. They think that they're always in this peaceful, loving state that nothing ever bothers them.
Yeah.
And I mean, in theory, I think when someone moves to mastery, they might be able to arrive at that place where things that used to impact them greatly, now they can be peaceful about. But is it really realistic to think that you have to be at peace all the time to be heart centered?
Um, the human is never going to do it, and the human doesn't do it. What happens is when the human loves itself, no matter what it feels, and it stops trying to do things, then it aligns to itself in the love of itself. It aligns to its source. And then the divine part of you is actually the transformer of you, or the one that will give you the desire or the experience that you are desiring, will flow into you automatically. So you're not the one making yourself change. You're not the one that's going to conform the human into being a heart-centered being. When the divine part of you merges with the human, it brings that trait or quality with it, and there's nothing expected of the human as far as obtaining it on its own. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, in the beginning, when you're trying to live a more heart centered life, is just having that desire enough? Just catching yourself, like, you know, catching yourself. And I would use the example of when I get frustrated with my human, maybe I can't stop the frustration, but I can at least recognize it and say, oh, sorry, human, that you're feeling frustrated right now. Is that enough to have that focus?
Having the focus that you are going to love it out of yourself, that you are not going to deny the emotion. You're not going to try to make it go away. You're not going to
Mm-hmm.
condemn or judge yourself for having it. You're not going to say you're not heart-centered, you're not good enough, or you wouldn't be doing these things anymore, or why are you doing these things when you know it's not good? Yeah, this is not the way, because the human is a feeler of energy. It's a feeler of emotions, and this is how it conducts itself for the divine part of itself. So it has come here to actually experience and feel, and based upon what it experiences and feels, it does have a desire, a preference, something it would like to feel, either opposite of or the same as what they felt, provided on how it felt to it. And so that preference has been formed by that living experience that human has done. And so when you finally get this understanding that there is no level of perfection, there is no training the human into being a good human. The human's going to do what it does based upon what it has lived and felt. But then when it realizes that this is worthiness, that this love of self is allowing the human to be an experiencer and surrendering to the feeling that it feels, then the human will align to its source, and then the source will become merged or unified with you. And therefore, this desire that you held is already in the unified part of you, and then it's just simply transferred into you, and you are now that in form.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we had a couple other viewers that had questions that were similar to this question, and we thought it would be appropriate just to include it with the heart centered. So this one is about our thoughts and words and how we affect others positively and negatively. If we assume something negative about someone, do they feel this energetically? And what do we do? Because if they do feel it energetically, we all are going to have negative thoughts about people. It's just part of the human experience. And how do we, I guess, cope with that if we are sending something out that we maybe don't want to receive back?
Well, whatever you're sending out, you will receive back. Yeah.
Mhm.
And whatever you send out and another agrees to, they will receive back. But in fact, if they do not agree to it and do not attach to what it is that you are flinging at them, then it will have no negative impact upon them. The idea that one could sit and devise negativity or evil towards someone and harm them would not be an accurate one unless the one unconsciously held a belief that they were this thing, that they were a terrible person, that they were not valuable, that they were at risk of being taken over by evil or whatever else. And so we want to go back to back in the day when there would be what do you call it, Heidi? When there would be something made and people would poke it. Yes, voodoo dolls. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Mhm.
But as they poke the voodoo doll, yeah, with the intention to hurt or harm it, it would actually go through the unified field, and it would meet the person that it was intended to, but they would have to match what is coming from that intent in order to experience harm by it. Do you understand?
I do. Yes.
So
Okay.
if we poked them in the neck and said, you are a spiteful, blah, 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 whatever you are, yes, and I'm sending this negativity to you, yeah. And if that, in fact, went through the unified field and they found, in fact, that they agreed with this observation of themselves, then they, in fact, would be infected or affected by what it is someone would fling at them in regard to them, yeah.
Okay. So I guess the answer to that question is yes, if they believe it, and yes, you're going to get something back if you're flinging something negative.
And it could be an unconscious belief that's held
Mhm. Yes.
of inadequacy, or they may not even be aware that they're in agreement with it. You
Hmm.
understand? Yeah.
Yes.
It could be an
Yes.
unconscious energetic entrapment that energy reaches and matches that entrapment and they get it. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. So then how does one, when they're in a painful or a fearful situation, how can you maintain a good feeling? Or is it likely that you're going to have to feel the fear or the pain before you can move to the good feeling? Or is there a
Yeah.
way to achieve that right away?
You have to surrender to what the human is feeling and love it for the feeling, and to let it know that in its life experience, fear was a big part of it, and that anyone in their experience would probably be fearful. It's not a wrong emotion. It's not a bad one. Yeah. It's one that was needed or called upon in the experience they had. And in this recognition, in this soothing, they're going to feel that emotion dissipate right away. It's going to lose its intensity. It might come back up again, and where they would be advised to do the same thing that we had just said, where they recognize that maybe if they can think about, we're not big on going back into old garbage, but if you can just briefly let your mind realize how that was born in you, what you went through that actually started to cause those emotions or feelings in your early childhood, or whether you had a mother that you knew went through it, and just an understanding that it could be something lineage. This is how you actually can soothe it out of yourself, just in the recognition of, I had a right to feel this way. I know my life experience caused it. I'm not wrong for the feeling that I'm having. I'm not going to try to make it go away. I'm going to surrender in love of it, in the experience that I had. And in this way, you can actually start to turn that emotion intensity down. Yeah.
Okay. So is there a benefit or a role for imagination? Like if you're in a painful or a fearful situation and you use your imagination to focus on something that's really great, is that helpful? Or is that not
Um,
something that's
it
likely to release?
it can be, but oftentimes, if you feel as though you're trying to force a positive thought when you're in a negative state, and it doesn't feel congruent, it doesn't feel like it's working, what you could do is, as you feel the human in its, say you're having an anxious time, an anxiety attack or something of this nature, and then you go to your human and you realize that it has lived a life where it didn't really feel in control of its experience, and it viewed others perhaps that dealt with life situations in this panicky way, and therefore has learned through its experience with those people to pull this response. They've been programmed that way. And so then you just acknowledge the human. I know why you're feeling that way. It's understandable. Yeah, you just love the human for what it had to do to survive in its experience. And then you might suggest to yourself, from the divine part of yourself. I remember something about you that felt really good to you. Yeah. And then you'll be able to feel right away whether it's congruent, whether the human is willing to join you in that good feeling that you're going to provide. Perhaps there was a lovely outing that you had that you want to go over and remember, or something that happened even a number of years ago that was very happy and joyful time for you. So you can kind of run it by the human as though, but if you feel the push of energy of it going right back to the panic, then you have to soothe a little bit more, or allow, let's use that term. You have to surrender to the feeling more until the human will give it up. Do you understand? Yeah.
I do. Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, thanks again to everybody that gave their answers. We hope you guys got a lot out of our topic, and we appreciate the input. Sometimes it's helpful to know what you guys all want to hear more about. So thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Robin. Thank you,
You're
Athena.
welcome. Thank you.